Welcome back to Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're here with our NFL Wildcard Weekend review show. We had 13 games left. We're down to 7, and just 8 teams remain in the playoffs to determine who's going to win Super Bowl 60. It was a wildcard weekend. There've been a few duds recently in wildcard weekend, but we got 4 incredible games. There's still one to go as we're recording on Monday night, so just hold your horses for any Texans Steelers recap or review until Friday. But we're going to talk about the 5 games that have happened so far, at least, just to get our episode out. Byron, Joe, welcome as always. Joe, how are you feeling? We are going to get to your game a bit later on, but yeah, how are you feeling on a Victory Monday?
I think the adrenaline's just about coming down now, and it's going back up as we start talking about it. So yeah, it was obviously you saw what I said at the pre-game. Wasn't expecting much. What the hell do I know? What a weekend! Not just for my team, just the whole. This year, because you think even about like the Steelers, Ravens, a few other like them games where it's last night. There's just been awesome game after awesome game after awesome game. Might be the best wildcard weekend we've ever had. Only one, which is an okay game, but 4 absolute classics. It's been what a weekend of football.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Just thriller after thriller. Byron, how are you? You enjoy your wildcard weekend so far?
Yeah, banger. Yeah, but like I said, like Joe says, best wildcard weekend I can remember. Certainly, 4 lead changes. I think in the last 2 minutes of games. Just what more could you ask for?
Yeah, incredible stuff. Let's start with the game of all games. I think a 3rd classic installment of the Bears and the Packers. Bears 31, Packers 27, 18 with a bullet. Bears fire back to shell shock Pack. 21-3 down and being outplayed in every area. The Bears score 25 in the 4th quarter for 7th comeback victory of the season. And Caleb shows he's got the clutch gene. I know we've seen this with the Chicago Bears team of you can't count them out. There's been crazy comebacks. I thought this was it. You can't just keep doing it. You can't survive. They were playing awful football for 3 quarters or 2.5 quarters at least.
Yeah.
I thought the occasion got to Ben Johnson a little bit. He was making crazy decisions, going for it, and he's 4th down inside his own 30 or around his own. I just thought it just got too much for them, and the Packers were just going to thump them. But boy, did they start turning it around in the second half, and especially with the defense, they stepped up. What did you make of this classic Bears-Packers game?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the defense stepping up. Montez Sweat, I felt, was in Jordan Love's pocket basically the entire second half, it felt like, after a really comfortable first half for Jordan Love. But I think you can't not talk about Caleb Williams here. That throw on 4th and 8, where he's basically both feet off the ground. How many quarterbacks in the league can make that pass? I mean, we've seen Drake May do one similar on Sunday, the day after, to be fair. But maybe a handful of quarterbacks making that throw.
Should we see that? Because we've got that clip.
Oh, have you got it lined up? Wonderful.
Yeah. Lined up for this show. Perfect. 4th and 8, 5.5 minutes to go. Game on the line. If you don't get this, it's game over, isn't it? You're down 11 really at this point. And yeah, magic happens, I guess.
4th down and 8. Have to get to the Green Bay 49. Williams chase, throws, and it's caught at the 30-yard line. Rome Odunze on a 4th and 8.
Even got Al Michaels a little bit excited, which is tough to do these days.
In this day and age, yeah. And I don't know if you got it from the Amazon Prime angle, like behind the play. That's how I watch the Amazon Prime games. It looked incredible. I mean, it looks incredible on that view as well, but
have you seen the Michael Jordan comparisons that you freeze it in time and it's like the exact Michael Jordan silhouette?
Yeah. That's very cool. I haven't seen that now. But Caleb Williams basically couldn't make a mistake in the second half or in the 4th quarter, especially some of the 3rd quarter. Green Bay, obviously fell off the scoring. I don't think Jordan Love could have done much more, though, truthfully. I thought Jordan Love had an incredible game as well. Josh Jacobs clearly isn't right. That Packers defense clearly isn't right. Matt LaFleur again gets ahead and plays not to lose. I'm not sure there's that much more to talk about the Packers. Romeo Doubs is going to make himself some money. I believe he's an upcoming free agent. And he never will let you down, Romeo Doubs. I think he's one of the more underrated receivers in the league. But I think this is all about Chicago. Caleb Williams, Colston Loveland, 137 yards on 8 catches. More receiving yards than Travis Kelce has ever had in a playoff game. I read this weekend as well. I just thought it was marvelous. It was exactly... I mean, maybe you wouldn't script it up that way. If you're a Bears fan, maybe you'd like to just play from ahead the entire game. And I'm slightly annoyed I didn't back the Bears at halftime. I took a look and it was only 11-1, and I was like, if you give me 20-1, I'm putting something down here. But 11-1 just felt a little too short for how bad they'd been in the first half. But that's what player football is all about. You know, you don't give up. You keep pushing. You hope that your dream quarterback, the guy that your quarterback hopes are pinned on for your franchise, will come to life. And my goodness, did he? I did have a stat here from Derek Klassen over at the Athletic NFL show. 93 games this season in which quarterback threw at least 40 passes, including the playoffs. On 48 passes versus the Packers last night, only 4.2% of Caleb Williams' throws were at or behind the line of scrimmage, the lowest mark in 5 seasons. He's slinging that fucking ball. I don't want to say he gives no shit because he's not playing recklessly, but he's certainly making things happen. I just thought it was a marvelous, marvelous game. Sorry, I'll stop banging on if you guys have got anything more to say on it.
I think it was just a different way to win from the Bears as well. Obviously, so it's the comeback, which we've seen, but a lot of the other ones have been kind of jolted or started. They didn't have we talked about whether this turnover play or turnover look was sustainable. Yep. The Packers didn't turn the ball over. You know, the Bears didn't get those turnovers. In fact, they didn't get where they were getting the bounces in the regular season. They didn't get them in the wildcard game. The Packers did fumble the ball 4 times, but managed to recover it, which is...
And that one, the Christian Watson one, where, like, if you're a Bears player, if you could just fall on that, it's a complete change. It's gone from a touchdown to on the 25-yard line, 20-yard line. And you're just like... And the tackle play, I forget which tackle it is, but when the ball... fumbles it, kicks it downfield, and you're like, just get a man on it. Like, the comeback's there to take. And every good bounce I've had this year, I felt like they got the bad one on Saturday, and yet still overcome it. Wonderful.
And they couldn't run the ball as effectively. I think they ran 28 for 93 for 3.3 a clip. You know, not what they've done where they've just ran over teams as well. So yeah, found a different way to do it. Incredible stuff. Colston Loveland, as you mentioned, was unbelievably good. Joe, what do you make? Because obviously you're still in the dance in the NFC. What do you sort of make of what you've seen from the Bears here?
Yeah, like we've said, they just did what they've done all year in terms of winning improbable games. This, when you just like look at this, you know, if you told me the Packers were, I think they were 21-6 going into the fourth quarter, it's just like, how have you lost that game there? You got the ball back as well. Obviously, we got to talk about McManus missing some big kicks. Obviously, missed 2 field goals and an extra point. I think that extra point hurt massively because John Love would have just been driving for a field goal, not for the touchdown at the end, and that changes how he does it. Yeah, I want to give all the praise to the Bears. I think, like you said, they had like the crazy stat where the defense does step up in the fourth quarter. They've done that all year. You didn't expect it to keep going throughout the playoffs. You saw it against like the 49ers where you have the not so good fourth quarter or throughout the game, and it bites you by the end. And you expected it to be the same. You know, he was going for 4th downs in the first half in their own territory, and you just thought this Packers team can't lose. All the wide receivers got a touchdown. Matthew Golden finally got a touchdown. He got a few passes, and then that third quarter, I feel like what Barry said, how much I love Matt LaFleur. Like, it just. I don't know what he does. He's just not the right head coach in that situation where it feels like they don't have checkdowns or kind of plays where it's just an easy 10 yards. It's either they go nowhere or they try and launch it 20 or 30 yards. And that's great. Love does it awesome. And he should be, you know, he got over 300 yards in this game. But sometimes when you just want to bleed the clock, the best teams have a drive for 10 minutes, just keep dinking and dunking. Plenty of teams have done it against the Bears. But they either just don't go to Josh Jacobs or they're just like running first down, he gets a yard. Then it's like 2 incompletions. And it's that kind of play where we see this from the Packers team. And yeah, with Parsons being out, they've lost all 5 games, I think, while he's been out. But they should put this game away. When you're that far ahead, I know the Bears are great at coming back, and Caleb Williams had a great performance, but still, you had plenty of chances. You know, Reed had that big drop on that last drive where it's just little things like that. It feels like we hear every single year with the Packers, where it's like they should have won that game in the playoffs, and it's either with Rodgers, now it's with Jordan Love. It feels like every year they're in a playoff game, and it's just like they need to make a couple of big plays, and they just don't make it, and the other team does. So yeah, but all fair play to the Bears. Obviously, they move on to the Rams. I think that'll be interesting. If they can come out of that one, then yeah, obviously they're in the dance to, I guess, the Super Bowl because it's one and get in. But it's big up Ben Johnson, and Caleb Williams is certainly showing it is metal and that is ice cold and coming back to beat the Packers.
Yeah, a couple of bits, I suppose, Rashley. What did you make of the Ben Johnson handshake with Matt LaFleur? Normally we'd see, a little bit more from head coach, especially going in such a game like that. Bit of a drive-by handshake from Ben Johnson.
Love it. To quote Jimmy Garoppolo, fuck the Packers.
Yeah.
We need more rivalries in football. Bring them on. Give us Seahawks, 49ers, Harbaugh, Pete Carroll. That makes football must-see TV. Ben Johnson being arch nemesis of Green Bay. Yes, please. Bring it on.
Excellent. And then, of course, we've got the picture. Caleb Cheesegrater. That's going to go down. That's probably going to be the most iconic picture of Chicago Bears picture of the clip in, 20 plus years, I imagine. Bad injuries for the Bears as though, which is, again, not to cry about injuries as we've got, just Joe knows all about them. But TJ Edwards went with a broken leg. Done. Ozzy Trapilo. Yeah, it was awful. Ozzy Trapilo looks like he's done as well. Bad knee injury. How difficult is this going to be then for the Bears losing kind of those players next week going up against the Rams?
I think obviously it doesn't help. You want your best players out there, but we've seen, the Rams only beat a Carolina team, which we'll get onto. Which when you look at the difference in talent, I don't think it's that crazy. So it's just next man up. It's always that. Obviously, it doesn't help. You want your big players, but like you said, 49ers got plenty of injuries, and they managed to get through, and good teams do. Rams have had plenty of players out as well. So it shouldn't be an excuse. Whichever way.
Last bit on the Packers. Noise about LaFleur and whether he stays or not just seems to be getting louder and louder. What do you think they do? Do you think he sticks around, or do you think he becomes then the most sought after head coach in this coaching cycle if they do part ways?
It's a really interesting question. He can certainly scheme offense, but he seems to. It's the same reason John Harbaugh's on the market. These big games come and he freezes up. I'm sure if they get rid, I'm sure he'll be very highly sought after because he's certainly competent. He's certainly good at his job. He just needs to get that stick out of his ass, basically, and not be scared of winning games. I don't think they'll fire him, but I certainly wouldn't be stunned if they did. I think Green Bay are a more conservative organization than that generally. He's got into a contract year, though, which apparently I'm not sure if it's the president doesn't like having a lame duck, essentially, head coach. He wants him either signed or gone. Yes. So maybe we will see some action on that front. I presume we do see him either sign or leave, but I would say it's more like to sign an extension, and if they need to pay him off next year, they'll just pay him off next year.
I'm curious if it's just coming from his agent a little bit more, just to get more money and maybe some more influence there. And I think if he does leave, I think it'll be him wanting to leave rather than the Packers. Like, I know you said he hasn't come up in big games or whatnot, but they've been in the playoffs just every single year. Being a great team in such a tough division as well. I think you just can't find them kind of head coaches around. And it just only takes 1 year to, we've seen plenty of teams who have great teams who not make it. So I think they should stick with him. I think he's actually a good head coach. There's just certain situations where you just wish there was someone in his ear to be like, okay, let's slightly change. Let's slightly adapt now. We've got the lead. We don't need to go bombs away. We can do something slightly different to beat this kind of team. But yeah.
76-41 record since he took over 7 years ago. So pretty great. Sometimes maybe Packers fans that want rid. Be careful what you wish for. Let's move on to the next.
One last thing. I brought it up a lot. I just want to do it one last time this season. The secret Jenga piece of the Packers is Zach Tom. When he plays over 50% of the snaps, they are 8-2, and now after Saturday they are 1-6-1 when he doesn't play. He's such an important. He's right tackle. Often goes overlooked, but the record with him without him speaks for itself. He's been such a huge miss for them.
Well, it's just that time, like just not able to run the ball, and take time out of the game, and certainly reared its head again. Let's move into the earlier game on Saturday. This was a Saturday game as well, but it's the Rams-Panthers. Rams 34, Panthers 31. Panthers fight till the end, but no moral victories in the playoffs. Rams stay alive after a mighty scare. Banged up Matthew Stafford gets Rams over the line. Was that championship instincts or barely surviving? First up, let's talk about the Panthers. The Panthers were unbelievable, even though they got in their own way for the vast majority of this game. Yeah. Unbelievable fight. Bryce Young stepped up and showed, even though the numbers don't necessarily look great. I thought he had a really, really good game. And by God, JC Horn and Mike Jackson go toe-to-toe with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Again, kind of the stat line, they both had big games, Nacua and Adams, but they could have completely taken over it. But I thought Jackson and JC Horn in particular were fantastic for the Panthers. So no shame. Everyone written them off as the biggest underdogs in home underdogs in playoff history. They threw that tag away and they were absolutely tremendous and didn't shame the NFC or the NFC South. They did it. Everyone very proud. What did you make of this one, guys?
Yeah, I did love it 14-0. The Rams obviously got off to a hot start, went 14-0 up. And it was, you couldn't move on blue sky for, the Panthers don't even deserve to be there. Give it to the Lions. It's like, well, I mean, the Lions weren't pulling up any trees, guys. Let's not joke ourselves here. And again, division winners should get in the playoffs. I hate this attitude, you don't like it, win your division. And I mean, let's face it as well, half the fucking teams get in the playoffs nowadays. If you can't make it in, it's not because of the Panthers got a gimme spot. Anyway, about the game itself, I think the Rams were very, very, very lucky. Devontae Adams, he doesn't look himself. I know the age cliff can come very, very quickly. He's coming off that hamstring injury, his first game in a few weeks. I know he got 5 for 72, which looked pretty good, but I just thought he looked so slow out there. I'm not sure how he got up to 72 yards. And I was kind of stunned they did not go to the tight ends more often. Higbee had 2 catches. Parks had two catches, including the game winner, incredible spinning on his axis, catch and fall into the end zone. Great play. And that was it. I know Terrence Ferguson was out, but Davis Allen didn't see a target. And the way you attack the Panthers, I mean, you just said it yourself there. JC Horn and Mike Jackson are going toe-to-toe with you. The linebackers are toast. And they just didn't target the middle of the field. I don't know why. My big thing about taking the Rams over 10.5 to cover the 10.5 in this game was that I trust Sean McVay to spot these weaknesses on a team he's seen for the second time and are talent deficient relative to the Rams. And he just didn't do it. If Puka Nacua isn't superhuman, the Rams don't win this game. Stafford was obviously off after he hurt his finger, understandably. But yeah, Kyren Williams, Blake Corum kind of split and did, okay. Neither of them had anything huge going on. And Devontae Adams, if he's not right for Chicago next week, they better go to the tight ends because, especially TJ Edwards now out, it's going to be the spot where you attack Chicago as well. And if they insist on, giving Devontae Adams 13 targets, only brought in 5 of them, I think that's a real, real bad decision unless he's looking a lot fitter come Saturday, Sunday, whenever the game is.
Look, incredible drops as well, both from Adams and Puka Nacua as well. The Puka Nacua drop, I didn't see the ball got
unbelievable.
Yeah, you've not seen that in 3 years in the NFL. He catches absolutely everything. So, I mean, just kind of the Rams just let the Panthers hang around, despite, as mentioned earlier, the Panthers having a lot of self-inflicted wounds. They just kept getting themselves off the floor. When it seemed like the Rams were going to pull away, they answered back with big plays. Playoff Jalen Coker, should we talk about? There's some people that went out on big fantasy takes on Jalen Coker that felt very, very, happy with themselves, I think, and, justified.
Well, I was going to say, if this was their first NFL game they're watching in the playoffs, they would have thought Jalen Coker's going to win the Offensive Player of the Year and he's a lot better than Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Just how awesome he was. It was incredible. Just a step up. When they needed it, it was just, and the whole team, like you said, when it was 14-0, and they just threw the interception, I thought that was done. A bit when there was the fumble on the punt as well, when they got that big stop, and that was 17-7 and fumble it in their own red zone. Again, I thought this game's done. But they managed to find a way. Bryce doing, that huge touchdown run, just to get back in it. And when they did that block, the block punt near the end, I thought the Panthers are winning this. But when they got that, I thought, yeah, this is it. So, you got to give credit to Rams to like that last one where Stafford and his boys stepped up on that last drive. It didn't ever feel like there were. Well, the only one I would say is when Puka Nacua probably made the best defensive play of the game, and that probably actually won them the game that they managed to stop. I think that was just before. I don't think that was on the final drive. I think that was maybe.
No, I think it was the one before, wasn't it? The scoring drive before. That was to make it 27-24.
But yeah, it was a great shot. I was cheering on the Panthers by the end, but probably the better team won who had a down day. But they've had a few down days lately, so I'm curious how they'll take that into Chicago.
Stafford had an X-ray on his finger and it came back negative, so no break or anything like that. Which obviously is going to have a week or eight days to rest. I think the Rams are Sunday, aren't they? So he's going to have 8 days. So we'll see, obviously, if that heals up in time. But it certainly was bothering him because he started, 10 for 10 to start, and then 2 or 3 for 10, and yeah, they really, really were struggling.
I would say though, when he hurt his finger, I think the next throw was that Puka Nacua one, which was like maybe the throw of the game where Puka dropped it. So I think it affected him, but not as much as that.
That was the adrenaline.
Yeah, that was the adrenaline to push that through.
As it started wearing on him, it got worse and worse, I think.
Certainly.
I think it is telling though, like if the Rams can't handle Coker, I mean, it's a snow game next week. How are they going to sniff that one out? Going from Coke to snow, I mean, oof.
All right. A lot of Coke heads, as you mentioned. Having a great time on Saturday night.
Blizzards everywhere.
Blizzards everywhere. Couple little bits for this that I saw just to sort of talk for. Stafford sets he's passed Kurt Warner for the most postseason passing yards and completions in Rams history. So some records for the Rams there for Matthew Stafford. Any more on this, or we can move on? Let's move on. Next up, we've got our second spotlight game. And Joe, it's your San Francisco 49ers. 23-19 winners over the reigning champion Philadelphia Eagles. It's tricky. 49ers land dagger with Jennings bomb. Shanahan went deep into the bag of tricks to land a telling blow as 49ers overcome more injuries to beat the champs. The roof caves in on AJ and the Eagles. Can we talk about that first? It was hilarious. AJ Brown and Nick Sirianni on the sideline was box office. I was expecting as soon as the game ended, the notification that AJ Brown has been traded to whoever. Obviously that can't happen because of the windows and stuff, but that was just the way it was going because they looked like they were going to fight. That was more than I think just like in the moment, the pressure's on. Like that relationship has completely broken down.
Yeah, there was a clip of them going into the locker room as well. Might have been before the game, in fact. I'm not 100% sure. And Sirianni it might be in halftime, in fact. And Sirianni's just mouthing off. And he goes ahead of AJ Brown. AJ Brown just shakes his head. And it's like, you're on camera this entire time. Like, you don't need to be so performative. It's not good for your team, like spirit, morale. Like, even if you win this game, like, is this what you want to be in the headlines next week? I can't stand Sirianni, but AJ Brown's been a dickhead. So is Sirianni as well, truthfully. But like,
I think for me, what the worst thing is you can be annoyed at him, but you're the head coach. Just like do that in the locker room, do that elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's this reputation. If there's going to be, when that big thing, when he kicked off, this is going to be what everyone talks about, even if you win. Yeah. And it wasn't like it was egregious. He was just taking his time to get off the punt. Yeah, okay, a little bit dickish, but get one of your backroom staff to sort it out. Get Big Dom to have a word with him or something. But he has this inability where you just look at head coaches who you feel like run the organization, everyone respects. You don't really see that as much. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not a great look. I was just going to say like what Andy Reid did with Kelsey, but it just felt like this has been going on for so long that this has been so out.
It's not an isolated incident.
Yeah, with both of them, and it feels like you need to just keep it in house a little bit more and just.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad look. And I'm not the biggest fan of him. And I'm curious where AJ Brown will go. I think there's plenty of people who would have him, and not quite sure what they'll get from him. Maybe not a first rounder now.
Probably not. No, and also then it's just obviously it was off. That was off the back of a drop. It then has the critical drop on him. There weren't many great Jalen Hurts passes. That was a great one. Critical drop, on that final drive, and ultimately, they don't convert and they don't score, and just it was just bizarre. But that's what to get out of the way because it popped up on X while I was reloading it. Joe, Victory Mondays we mentioned. How did it feel again? The Niners just felt like they fought through adversity again. George Kittle blows his Achilles. I don't know what was going on with Fox. They just wanted to show that 15, 20 times. I don't know why we needed to see that replay again and again. Kittle goes down, so important. Best all-round tight end in the NFL and huge to the offensive game plan, no doubt. But Shanahan and the team and Purdy and co. find a way to get the job done and score enough. I kind of felt if they got to early 20s, that was going to be enough, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it was such an up and down game. Obviously, starting off amazingly with that touchdown with DeMarcus Robinson, who he was awesome. Had him in the fantasy game day. I felt like he was going to be the man to step up. But he felt like with the 49ers, it was either like huge drives with explosive plays or 3 and out. He felt like that all the way through the game, or interceptions. He, you can't really complain whatsoever. Just how many injuries. I think it helped, funnily enough, with Kittle being injured earlier in the season. I think if Kittle had played the full season and got injured then, because the offense just circles around him and McCaffrey, especially with a lot of the injuries, that if he went down, if he played the full season, I think they may have not been able to adjust. But because they had to spend most of the season without him, I think that helps massively. And, you saw Jake Tonjes rising up when he was out. And, everyone just stepped up. They're on the 6th and 7th linebacker. When a linebacker who played for the Cowboys last year comes in with a month ago, you're not expecting much with how bad that situation was. So, everyone just stepped up. I think it helps playing this Eagles offense. I think they just go to sleep so many times when it feels like they just don't adjust, which the 49ers did to this game when the first drive from the Eagles, just Barkley was running all over them, and I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be all game. But there were so many times, even though he got 100 yards, it felt like first down, they would get like 3 yards. Second down, they'd lose 2 yards. It felt like that constantly and putting Hurts in position. So it helped that when the 49ers went through that stretch of going 3 and out and punting it back, that the Eagles did as well. So you got to give up to Bob Saleh. I think he coached that perfectly. And I thought Brock Purdy played great. I think obviously the 2 interceptions, I think he got a big, especially the second one when they just got the lead. He got a little bit too greedy with that one, I thought, going after Quinn and Mitchell again, especially just have that 1 point lead and you got them Eagles to go 3 and out. And I just wanted him to slow down. But they got that crazy touchdown, the Juwan Jennings to McCaffrey, which was awesome to start the fourth quarter. They set it up perfectly. And then finally that drive, that 10-play, 66 yards, 5 minutes off the clock. They just timed it perfectly. McCaffrey's been doing that fading out to the sideline so much so for him to cut it back in. I think they just schemed it perfectly. But when you look at the Eagles side, that fourth down, I'll go the third down first because taking that time out was ridiculous. When that happened, I think I put in our group, I was like, I don't know why the Eagles have taken a timeout here, because if they give the ball back to the 49ers now, that's the game done. I know it's probably going to not be anywhere. But they took that just to think of a play, and it was a crap play anyway on 3rd and 11. And then that fourth down, just, we're not full on experts here with route running, but what I've seen, what people say, is just like the most basic 4 vertical, two wide receivers coming back in, where Kendricks had probably seen that throughout his career, read it perfectly. But it's just like, surely on your fourth down, you've got something a lot better than that. And it just feels this offense just doesn't. I thought Hurts played okay, just not amazing. And they've got to get rid of the offensive coordinator, I think, and change it completely. I think they'll probably get rid of AJ Brown. But I feel like 49ers played great. They stepped to when they needed to, but it also helped that this Eagles offense has been basically what it's been all year. It's a bit putrid.
Well, let's have a look at a couple of bits because we've got some clips to share on this one and some are really enjoyable. So on our preview show, we spoke to, obviously, legendary coach Jeff Reinbold, and we had a little discussion about Will Gavin. So he is the TalkSport NFL play-by-play commentator, and Jeff shouted out that he's the best play-by-play commentator he's ever worked with, and he had a hell of a call on TalkSport in Philadelphia for the game winner. So this is from the NFL UK X account. Don't like using stuff from there, but this is where it was. So shout out Will, because this is awesome.
He sends Bourne in motion, stumps his foot, gets the ball, looks to his right-hand side, steps up in the pocket, throws left instead. Touchdown Niners! Christian McCaffrey right on the G of the Eagles in the end zone. And in the fourth quarter, they retake the lead. San Francisco up 4, 23-19. And this battered, bruised and banged up San Francisco team just won't take it lying down.
Incredible stuff from Will Gavin there. So shout out Will.
And I think he's a 49ers fan as well.
Yeah. Helps a little bit in that situation, I know. But a great job from Will. And I'd seen him following the jersey. They travelled out to the Eagles, to Philadelphia to cover the game from the link. And they had some issues with the baggage and all the radio equipment they needed to broadcast the game went missing. It was a hell of a journey for the TalkSport guys, and Will. But it got there. Obviously, a great call. Another one to go on. A quickly growing resume. Next up, Joe, look, you're glad we talked about this in the preview. The 49ers Faithful UK guys had a bit of a get-together in Leeds. I was going to go down, sadly caught moving stuff and house and stuff, so sadly couldn't make it down. But this is them. This is the guys at the end. A full shout out to the Box Bar in Leeds, at Leeds City Centre, that hosted them. This is the guys just after victory is confirmed. Previous guest Paul Hope, obviously we love him, comes on the show, front and center of the celebrations there as well, which was I'd turn it down a little bit. It was really loud. I was a big gathering of them there, which is great to see. They also had another gathering down in London as well. So great night for them to celebrate. And then lastly, we've got let's just talk about the Eagles quickly. So the Niners move on. Great matchup, opportunity to avenge that Week 18 loss in Seattle. So big underdogs, though, 7.5-point underdogs. The Philadelphia Eagles, where do we go from here? Well, shall we take a listen to Sam Salvo? There's a young Eagles fan who was interviewed outside the link after the game. This is from Brianna Smith, who is a reporter for 6ABC in Philadelphia. And I loved it. I saw this afternoon. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. This is young Sam's take on how the game went and what the Eagles should do next.
Yes, this was a huge letdown. This was my Christmas present, and I got a loss.
Oh, no. You probably would have rather had Cole, huh?
Yeah, probably. I'm feeling two of two things. A, I want A.J. Brown packing his bags, and I want him somewhere else that is not here. I love you, A.J., but, you can't make those drops in that game. And I also want Kevin Patullo flipping burgers at, the local McDonald's or something. I don't care.
Why do you say that?
Whenever he's an offensive coordinator, it's like he's flipping burgers. One side, he's cooking. One half, he's cooking. And the other half is completely raw. Yes, this was huge.
A star is born from Sam Salvo. That was incredible stuff in the immediate aftermath of, the Eagles' season being over. Shall we head on to our next game?
Yeah, I just one quite slight qualm with Sam. When was Kevin Patullo cooking on half of the side? I mean, mate, you're getting a raw burger if Kevin Patullo's cooking. It ain't getting cooked on either side. You're getting steak and tartare.
Yeah, not great. I'm sure Kevin Patullo's going to be in the job market in the next day or so. Right, next up. What have we got next? I've lost track of the games that we've got. It's the Patriots and Chargers. Time for our overreaction pieces. Patriots, 16, Chargers, 3. Time for a Roman holiday. Another Chargers no-show on offense. It must be time for a change at OC. Moving on is a must this offseason to truly elevate Justin Herbert. Just a quick one, Joe, you shared this in our garage the message. Juwan Jennings now has the same number of passing touchdowns in the playoffs as Justin Herbert.
And more wins.
And more wins, yeah. And that's a sad stat. Yeah, Byron, this is your sort of headline that you wrote. Yeah, this was rough going for the Chargers.
Yeah, this was terrible. And I mean, I'm hanging Greg Roman out to dry here. I don't think he's a good OC, period. Justin Herbert was bad last night as well. There was the second play of the game, Ben Solak highlighted it on Twitter this morning. Have you got it up, in fact?
No, sorry, I accidentally.
I didn't send it over, so I thought maybe you'd seen it yourself. Lad McConkey's open for a touchdown. Like, he is way, way, way open. The safety's gone the other side of the field. You see Lad McConkey looking around like, oh shit, was I covered? And there's nobody there. Herbert has time. Herbert puts his eyes down and takes off running. And Herbert finally has a 50-yard rusher in the playoffs. It's himself, which isn't great. Omarion Hampton should have been inactive. He obviously wasn't fit enough to play. He was my fantasy game day pick. Apologies if anyone listened to that and went with him. I ended up pivoting off of it because the reports of his injury were just too bad. That I can't remember who I put in. It wasn't Omarion Hampton, and it wasn't a winning lineup anyway, so it doesn't much matter. But the Chargers were so bad on offense. I don't think you can take anything from the Patriots for this game. Like, they played well, but if you think the Patriots are scheduled merchants coming into the game, you should probably still think it now, because this wasn't an NFL playoff performance from the Chargers. They were fine on defense. Pass rush got going. Great interception for Henley, but the offense was just absolutely putrid. It's not all the line's fault. It's not all Roman's fault. But I think having a good O-line would have helped an awful lot, having it fit and healthy. But I do think Justin Herbert does need to take a look as well, and what could he have done better. If every time, your first read isn't there, you just take off running, you're not going to be winning many playoff games, as we've seen so far in his career. I love Justin Herbert as much as anyone does, but it's only right that we call out when he's bad as well. And yesterday I thought was a really bad performance in a really big spot for him. It didn't take much to have kept this game competitive and to have gone ahead at certain points in it, and they just didn't have it to pull the trigger. All the receivers were fit. Gadsden was fit at tight end. And the line didn't play that badly, I didn't think. They weren't good, but I just felt maybe he's too burned from years gone by, where Herbert, as soon as there was any sense of pressure, he was taking off. And
I wonder if it was just because of maybe like the last month or 5 or 6 weeks or so, where he's been taking a beating, and I wonder if that's just in it. Because I agree, actually. I thought for the first half, maybe even halfway through the third quarter, the line was doing okay, and it was a bit later on in the game where they started getting to him a lot more. And this is the point of having having a franchise quarterback, and we use that phrase, franchise quarterback. Maybe there's 10, maybe there's 12 of them. You have a franchise quarterback and how much money is invested in them. They're also there to cover other deficiencies that your team has, and just Justin Herbert just doesn't seem capable of doing that so far from what we've seen now for 6 years.
Yeah, I think he's getting to a point where the excuses for Herbert is like he can't still be there. It's 3 terrible losses. Like the last 2 games, I think the last 6 quarters that they haven't scored a touchdown. They've conceded tons. I think the interior line that definitely deteriorated. I don't know how a team any team just playing stunts on them was just getting through. It was crazy. And I think, and it's not that if they were playing the Texans or the Broncos, I would have been like, okay, yeah, this makes sense because you're playing a top 3 defense. You play the Patriots, who were like mid-20s in defense in DVOA. I think they had a great plan. I think they played hard for their coach. I think the Chargers defense, I thought they played great. I think Jesse Minter's probably going to get a head coach, and he deserves it. I'm curious how this Chargers team goes. I think the issue is that line's not great, but no one was getting open. I think when you mentioned the group there, the overreaction of Roman Holiday that needs to go out, I don't think it's an overreaction. I think it's correct. It's just time and time again, he comes up small in playoffs. He did it for the Ravens, doing it for the Chargers now. And when I think there was like a few plays that were showing where when Herbert got when he dropped back and he got to a point throw, he had like 2 wide receivers within like 2 yards of each other, and there's one defender covering both Allen and I can't remember the other. Yeah, they were like covering both, and it's just like that scheme. Whenever you look, just no one's getting open. So the second half, the Patriots just like, let's just blitz this offense, because one, the offensive line's not good enough to hold up, and 2, when you've got all these one-on-ones, the wide receivers are just not getting open, so Herbert can't throw it to anyone. And I think it felt like there was no checkdowns as well. Again, similar to the Packers, where it just felt like he was either bombs away to Quinn and Johnson. There was no one just like in the middle of the field, and that's how you win games now. I think obviously having the big plays helps, but it's changing it up. And when a defense is just blitzing you just nonstop, that's how you beat them. And I can't give Harbaugh a pass as well. Just when they were down on that one of them last drives and needing to score quickly, that was one of the most depressing drives I think I've seen, where it was like 4-yard dunk, 4-yard dunk. Gonzalez has gone off with a head injury. That's their number one cornerback. Why are you not just targeting that kind of their cornerback? Say, let's see if our best player beats their best player, and it just wasn't there. And then the whole thing where even commentary was like, "Oh, you're tiring them out." He's like, "Oh, let's do a sub," and then he just gave the Patriots they wasted, in a good way, wasted so much time just doing them subs. And I think that's what Vrabel's done great. And that's why you want that kind of head coach, where he was telling his defenders, slow down coming off the field and substitute, and also on as well, because that's the smart you gotta have with a head coach, where that's why you win. But I thought Harbaugh shouldn't get a pass, because that was just putrid game management. That last couple of drives where it's you guys are fighting for your playoff, for the season chances. It just did not feel that way. It felt like they were up by 2 or 3, and they just wanted to waste some time just doing all these checkdowns and not targeting. You're being bombing away, and I know it's not been working, but Gonzalez has gone, now just try it. But it's disappointing from the Chargers. Again, feels like we're here every year, wild card, where it's just oh, okay, next year they're going to help Herbert out, and we're going to be here in the off season saying this is their chance. But they've got to do a lot, get that interior a lot better, get some better weapons, and hopefully your defense doesn't take a big drop with Jesse Minter going.
Yes, that point you call out, Drive, there was obviously 16-3 down. They went on a 14-play, 4-minute drive that went for 45 yards and led to the end of the game because the Patriots sacked him on 4th down and knelt it out. 6 minutes to go, you're down 2 scores.
It's even the one before as well. It was 4 plays, but that was just where Herbert was just running, just blitzing, just because running. And it's just if they're blitzing. There's a reason teams don't blitz all the time, because teams are supposed to be able to take advantage and get huge plays when it's the blitz, where you just say, well, let's target our fast guy and let's see if it beats without Gonzalez. But they didn't even attempt any of that. I think it was just bad call playing, and just again, the same Chargers where we've been here for the last 2 or 3 years, where it's just not good enough. And I'm curious where they go from here.
Excellent. Right, let's go on to our final game. It is the Bills 27, Jaguars 24. Don't tug on Superman's cape. Allen carries the Bills. After taking a beating, reigning MVP has the final say as the Bills land first road playoff win for 30 years. It doesn't get any easier with the trip to number 1 seed Denver next up. We said in the preview that they might struggle running the ball. They did. James Cook, I think, ran for 46 yards, was it?
Yeah.
It had to be Josh Allen, and by God was it. And he came, he was in the injury tent twice. He got his head bashed. He smashed his hand. He looked like he blew his knee out at one point. But he gets back in, a true warrior, and finds a way to get it done. Doesn't turn the ball over. 2 rushing touchdowns, a big tush push. And it was just all Josh Allen. But this also feels like a big missed opportunity for the Jaguars. But let's start with the Bills. What did you make of Josh Allen's performance and how the Bills managed to get it done?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, and I do want to give a shout out to Khalil Shakir as well. Never had a game with double-digit catches, at 12 yesterday for 82 yards, no touchdown.
Targets.
He never drops the ball. This is why I fell in love with him, after his second season. It's this guy just never drops the ball. He's so reliable. The Bills' next leading receiver was Brandon Cooks with 3 catches.
Made a big one, though.
He did, but it is Khalil Shakir and Josh Allen in this game, and that is your lot. And, Josh Allen gets in 2 times on the ground, throws a touchdown. No interceptions. One of my bets was him to throw 2 because he was going to have to do too much. And I'm a fool because there is not too much for Josh Allen. I don't know why I still trick myself into thinking maybe there's a limit on him. This is a year for Josh Allen, isn't it? If not now, when, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I think he's going to need to do it again next week. I think he's going to have to replicate this, and he might need to do it. He might need to do this 3. Can he do it another 3 times? Because I think he might have to. And I just don't think he's going to get the help. I think the only plausible, realistic help is James Cook having a monster game. But can you see them running all over the Broncos? I don't know. Do you see them running all over a Texans, maybe a Patriots like they did before, and or a Steelers should it fall that way? But I don't know. I just think, can he do it? I think doing it 4 games in a row, which I think is what you're going to have to do, I think might just be too much, even though this is probably their best opportunity, given what we've talked about. Joe, what did you make of it? And give us a shout out on Trevor Lawrence as well, because we know you're not the biggest fan of his.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say with Josh Allen, I think what he did perfectly in this game, it just took all the checkdowns. He didn't play a Josh Allen game, what we expect or what we've seen, where it's just like, oh, I need to be throwing bombs and going all for it. Or I need to either like rumble through it, or I need to hit 50-yard plays. He obviously had that big throw to Cook, but before that, like you mentioned, Shakir got 12 catches, but he only got 82 yards. And it just, even in that last couple of plays when they got that big throw to Cook, the next 2 plays were 3 checkdowns or 2 checkdowns, and got a couple of yards to get to that 4th and 1. So yeah, I thought he played perfect. I think he just played what he needed to do against his Jags defense, which I thought actually played really well, the Jags defense. I think they hurried him constantly. I think the only issue they had, they got so many pressures, just couldn't sack Josh Allen, and we said that might be an issue, but they did everything else they could do. And I could slate Trevor Lawrence. He obviously had 2 interceptions, that downs as well, where it was like half a yard, like it was so close. And that was huge as well, coming off the fumble. I didn't mind that play as well from Jacksonville. You up 7-3, you've just got a free play. Why not go for it? So I don't blame Liam Cohen for that one. I thought he actually had a good game, not a great game, and I think that's where the difference between these 2 games. I think Josh Allen had a great game, Trevor Lawrence had a good game, and you just want him to have that extra level to take your team. What you need in the playoffs, you need your quarterback to stand up, and yeah, obviously Parker Washington had another monster game. It feels like, is Brian Thomas going to get traded in the offseason, surely?
I think so. I don't think he's a fit for Liam Cohen.
Yeah,
he should have traded him last off-season when his premium was real high, but I don't think he's there next year.
Yeah, and Parker Washington's stepped up. He had 7 catches, 107 yards. He had a great game. Obviously, the running game, it was a bit strange. They got 2 and had 4 carries. He got 51 yards along with 20, and I thought, here we go. He's either going off and just didn't get another carry. ETN, it felt like that. I think that run game in the first half, they were averaging 12 yards, and I just expect him to keep running. But obviously, what we said about Sean McDermott, what he does best is he just he changes. He's able to do adjustments throughout the game. A shout out to the old boys for the Bills. Tre'Davious White had an awesome game. Plenty of pass breakups, and obviously at the end getting that pass deflection for the interception. So I thought this, it was in between this and the Packers for the best game of the weekend. Just the constant changes throughout the 4th quarter, and yeah, I thought the Bills were the favorite coming in. I thought this might be the toughest test against this Jags team, and yeah, we'll see what they can do against the Broncos. But great win for them. Josh Allen's first road win, Sean McDermott's first playoff road win. So yeah, good on them. And yeah, Jacksonville. I feel like the biggest thing with Jacksonville is, because usually if it was like last year and they lost in the wild card, you would be a bit like, oh, it's great first year from Liam Cohen. We'll see how it goes. But this was an opportunity this year to actually win it. I think they had the squad with how the level playing field it is, especially in the AFC, that they had a great chance to get to that Super Bowl if they just won that one. But it's been a great year for them, and yeah, shout out to Liam Cohen.
Excellent. Yeah, you got props from a reporter afterwards as well in the press conference. Keeping your head up. Made some people a little bit sick, I think. That's not what we should be using.
It was very awkward.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it, but she should have just said it and then he said thank you. But she repeated herself like 4 times.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was like, yep, thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's like, just leave it. You've said great season, good luck. It's a nice message, but it's like, just say it and move on.
I don't mind. I think that person's been they're a good person. I think people are just.
Oh, I think they're a nice person. I just think they should have just said it and moved on. It was the back and forth of it that just kind of got to me.
Let's bring the positivity into life,
All the reporters hated it, and all the reporters have all hated it just because they'll have a limited amount of time with the head coach.
Yeah, but they ask shit questions. They ask shit questions all the time, so
How to make friends and influence people.
I did want to
Joe.
Not to get away from the positivity too much. Was the kicking the difference here? Matt Prater flawless. Cam Little misses a very makeable kick. And again, 3-point difference. After an incredible season for Cam Little, I thought that was kind of telling and very sad. I also think underrated former Cowboy out of this game, Jordan Lewis. How much of Khalil Shakir on the slot corner route would he have been covering up for? When you take out Travis Hunter, who's playing corner, and Jordan Lewis, I wonder if this game would have been a bit different if you had Jordan Lewis in there. I felt he was a big miss, especially yesterday.
Cowboys have missed him all season. He was incredible and just goes under the radar. Yeah, I think it was a big miss for the Jags yesterday. Cool. Right, that's our 5 games covered. Bills are favourites against the Broncos next week, as it stands. Bills -1, so barely a favourite, but still a favourite nonetheless. Let's have a look at our 4-fold challenge. Joe, yours is still going. You've got You've got double Monday night pick waiting. So you've got the Texans -3 and over 39.5. You had under in Chargers, Patriots, and the Niners +4.5, who of course won outright. Byron, you're 1 and 2. You had the Jags as an underdog over that hit in Bears, Packers, and you had the Eagles, and you're waiting on the under. So I mean, for your sake, I hope you do go 1 and 3. So Joe's got a shot.
Yeah, give Joe the 4th one. I don't care about going 2 and 2.
Absolutely. And I went 1 and 3, continuing my form from the from the regular season. I had under Bears, Packers, over Bills, Jags, Chargers to cover as a Chargers +3.5, and then the Bills -1. So yeah, bit of a disaster from me. So Joe leads the way. I think if Joe goes 4-0 here, it's over already, Byron. Like he's 3 clear.
Yeah, I'm just pleased that me and you are out betting, getting more wins than the guest at this point. I mean, we haven't invited a guest on to do the 4-fold, but that's probably the reason, so we can at least get 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't think we should make. We should have made Coach Reinbold do it. I think that'd have been a rough one. So yeah, let's have a look at our ATS picks.
That's me.
Jesus Christ, this is 19.
But the only thing I do on the calendar is move it along. I forget that it's up on my screen. It's on my 3rd monitor out the way.
I'll leave that again. Just my regular season forms continued. I'm 3 and 2. You guys are 1 and 4. Bit of a disaster for you guys on the ATS. I had the Panthers to cover the 10.5, and they did. Yeah, which was good. I had the Bears, so did Byron. All of us were on the Jags, plus the 1. I had the Niners. I was the only one that believed, Joe. I was the only one that believed. I took an ATS and I bet it.
And you didn't go to the watch party,
and I didn't go to the watch party. Yeah. I did everything right. Just Joe on the Patriots, and then we're all on the Texans. So I'll either be 3. Either way, I'm going to be 2 clear heading into next week. So that's not bad. We mentioned on the the preview, we had 269 winning bets for the regular season. Or the season so far, and that's just in-season ones as well. I forgot to add the pre-season bets onto that because there's probably like another 15, 20 winners there, but put that to one side for a second. 269 winners heading into the playoffs. We're up to 280 now. The march to 300 is on. 11 winners through 5 games, so we've still got, obviously, bets for Monday Night Football, that may or may not have hit, depending what happened by the time this comes out. But we had 11 winners. So Joe gave you a 27-4, so just short of 7-1 winner. Both quarterbacks to throw 250 plus yards in Packers Bears. Bashal 240 plus rushing yards for the Jags at 11-2, and Hunter Henry 50 plus receiving yards at 3-2 for Sunday Night Football. Byron gave you the biggest winner of the week, 9-1. Caleb Williams 300 plus passing yards, great bet. Saquon Barkley 100 plus rushing yards at 2-1. You still got some weekly specials. Is Caleb in with a shout of that, or did Jordan Love throw him? I think he did, didn't he?
No, Caleb is on 3-6-1, leading the way.
So we've got a potential. There's no way Aaron Rodgers or CJ Stroud are throwing to 600.
Well, I might be putting. So CJ Stroud to throw over 350 is 15-1. Aaron Rodgers to throw over 325 is the biggest price you can get on Aaron Rodgers. They don't believe he's getting 350 either. Also 15-1. So there might be 10 quid going on each of them because
nice. Yeah, that's a good place to hedge. So potential 20-1 winner there, which would make it
and 12. Ideally Stroud gets 351.
Yeah.
So then we cash all of them.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, possibly a 20-1 winner there from Byron. And then I've given you, what did I give you? Loads. Panthers plus 10.5. Mentioned that. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams double prop bet at 5-1. Colston Loveland 60 plus receiving yards. I could have gone twice. Could have gone for plus 120 with the day that he had. That was 17-10. The 49ers plus 4.5. Devontae Smith 5 receptions and 60 plus yards at 6-4 and under 46 on Sunday Night Football. And we've still got more to go. We've been averaging 15 a week on full slates. We could get to 15 on 6 games here for this week, which I think would be a very a great way to start the postseason, and will certainly help us on the way to the march to 300. So yeah, what a great wildcard week we've had. It pays to listen to good teams win, great teams cover. So do it. And yeah, if you've not followed our bet, so you've not picked any up, we hope you've bashed the bookies in your own way. That's it for our wildcard review. Weird, it's just such a shorter episode than what we're used to doing, which is always good. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back with our divisional round preview. Some say it's the best weekend of football of the year. I think it's going to be hard to top that, to be honest, but we'll see. We've got a great guest, Ben Isaacs, big Chicago Bears fan from the Nat Coombs Show, Talk Sport, etc., is going to join us to help preview the Bears against the Rams. And we'll obviously have our picks, best bets, and all the usual ATS and picks competitions. In the meantime, make sure you're following us at Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover over on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Charlie pick as well. Charlie hit his pick, so he's 1-0 for the playoffs. Find the podcast Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Overcast, and the video version available on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Friday.